What if I told you a short-lived sci-fi series once aired an episode eerily similar to a real-life tragedy 6 months before it happened, and that other episodes also mirrored events that were yet to happen? Welcome to this deep dive into a quirky X-Files spin-off that many had high hopes for. Premiering on March 4, 2001, The Lone Gunmen was a spin-off of The X-Files. It featured 3 eccentric conspiracy theorists. These guys were the unofficial hackers and truth seekers of the X-Files universe, often helping Fox Mulder and Dana Scully behind the scenes as occasional characters. They were the go-to crew when Mulder needed to hack a computer, grab a hidden computer file, or explore a wild underground conspiracy theory.
Check it out, Mulder. I had breakfast with the guy who shot John F. Kennedy.
Is that so?
Hey, Mulder, listen to this. Vladimir Zhirinovsky, the leader of the Russian Social Democrats, he's being put into power by the most heinous and evil force of the 20th century, the CIA. We're not talking about a bunch of idiots up on a hill trying to bone the Capitol pages. We're talking about a dark network, a government within a government, controlling our every move.
All right, what do you know about the Gulf War syndrome?
The tone, well, way more satirical and comedic than the X-Files, with plots ranging from surveillance drones to mind control and dodgy computer chips, all wrapped up in techie paranoia, corporate agendas and government secrets.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about that Octium 4 chip you're developing? How the Octium is secretly designed to keep tabs on the user. It's got a tiny little modem embedded in each processor, see?
It was shadows within shadows. Think Mission Impossible meets Inspector Clouseau on a budget. The Lone Gunmen was created by Chris Carter, the mastermind behind the X-Files, along with Frank Spotnitz, Vince Gilligan and John Shiban. On paper, it had all the right ingredients for being a huge success. However, the show, in my opinion, had a couple of problems. First, 2 unnecessary characters were brought into the mix, namely the smart and sophisticated Eves Adele Harlow, an anagram of Lee Harvey Oswald. She was a Lara Croft type character, played perfectly by Zuleika Robinson. And of course there was the idiotic and wealthy Jimmy Bond character played by the brilliant actor Stephen Snedden.
But how do you put a price tag on a dream? Now I know that it sounds corny, but when I look at those men's faces, when they make a tackle, catch a pass, it's worth all the silver in Fort Knox.
Yeesh, can that guy be for real?
Well, he's no criminal mastermind, of that I'm fairly certain.
Both are great actors, of course, in their own right, but I think it was poor judgment to add these characters to the show. It meant the series writers had to carry 5 headline characters, and it's just too many. They should have just let the writers focus on the 3 lead characters and added glamour and comedy in some other way. Anyway, our heroes were John Fitzgerald Byers, played by Bruce Harwood. He was the idealist of the group, a former government employee with a strong moral code. He's smart, soft-spoken, and often the face of the team.
Oh, you've seen the last of Mr. Nice Guy. I really am gonna have you shot in the head.
We don't think so. We're betting that you need us. You're scared of it, aren't you? It, them, whatever pronoun best applies.
Melvin Frohike was played by Tom Braidwood, a gruff, leather jacket-wearing techie with a heart of gold. He's the muscle, relatively speaking, and has a somewhat awkward crush on Agent Scully.
She's hot.
Braidwood actually worked behind the scenes on The X-Files before being offered the role in The Lone Gunmen. Richard Ringo Langley was played by Dean Hagland, a hacker-slacker stereotype. Long hair, band tees and a love for Dungeons and Dragons. He's the most anarchic of the 3, always ready to challenge authority.
We tell the stories others refuse to tell.
Interestingly, Hagland's a real-life tech enthusiast and a comedian. Together, they run a conspiracy newsletter called The Lone Gunmen, although the publication's original name was The Magic Bullet, a nod to the Kennedy assassination, of course. The trio live in a high-tech lair, surviving on paranoia and chips. But before the series even aired, I think it was already out of date, because even in the year 2001, online newspapers, blogs and magazines were gaining traction over traditional ink and paper. It's a shame the writers didn't have our heroes run a conspiracy theory website. That would have been a real buzz. But here's where things get unsettling. The very first episode, titled Pilot, aired in March 2001. In that episode, a rogue faction within the US government remotely hijacks a commercial airliner aiming to crash it into the New York World Trade Center to justify increased military spending.
I think it is what it looks like.
What does what look like?
Modem protocols. Remote access. Somebody on the ground's flying your plane.
In the episode, the pilots were unable to take control of their aircraft as it headed toward the skyscrapers. However, the lone gunmen uncover the plot in the nick of time and save the day.
We've got manual override.
But the parallels to the real-world attacks in September 2001 are so striking that in the aftermath of 9/11, the episode drew global attention. Some conspiracy theorists questioned whether the writers had foreknowledge. The script was written in the year 2000. The reality, of course, it was just pure coincidence, albeit a very, very eerie one.
But guys, what kind of terrorist works out of the Pentagon?
Government-sanctioned ones.
Despite the attention-grabbing plots and the generally positive reviews, the Lone Gunmen struggled to find an audience. The show ran for only 13 episodes before being canned in June 2001. Why? Well, first, it didn't fully click with mainstream viewers. The tone was too comedic for X-Files fans, but too geeky for comedy fans.
We found this in the engine compartment of my father's car. You'll notice that none of the circuits have factory identifier numbers.
And this copper zigzag looks like an integrated antenna.
Etched into the breadboard like a cell phone.
The post-90s TV landscape was shifting. Audiences wanted gritty realism or fast-paced drama, not satirical techno thrillers. Fans of the X-Files, the main target audience of the Lone Gunmen, wanted more depth, more interesting plots, less glamour, something with a bit more bite. But it just wasn't there.
I know you and your friends are fighting for the American dream. Don't expect to win.
While the first episode attracted 13 million viewers in the US, the last one, All About Eves, pulled in just 5 million.
Whoa, guys, this is so not my scene.
Ultimately, the fate of our three heroes was controversial, while the final episode ended in a huge cliffhanger, leaving many viewers wondering what's coming next.
Hi, guys. Why so blue? Sorry.
There was an expectation that Series 2 was on the way, but it was a no-go.
We're supposed to be fighting for truth, justice, and the American way here.
Instead, the trio returned, to be dealt with in an episode of the X-Files called Jump the Shark, in which they gave everything to stop a terrorist wanting to release a virus.
Don't! Jimmy!
Jimmy, don't.
It's airtight. They're already exposed.
The title Jump the Shark is also funny. It's a humorous reference to a phrase used to describe shows that are in decline and therefore try a gimmick to get attention. Hang on. Oh, hi, Megan. No more jam. No. Okay, thanks. Yeah, cool, for sure. Okay. And say hi to Harry for me. Bye-bye now. In the comic book adaptation of the series, which helpfully takes place in an alternate universe, the Lone Gunmen are alive and well, and working for the US government. And the gunmen briefly reappeared to Fox Mulder as ghosts.
I believe his name is Langley. Richard Langley.
Is Langley alive?
Lone Gunmen Langley?
What are we looking for, Mother?
Knowing Langley, breadcrumbs. His birth date is wrong.
Do gravediggers work at night?
Now, the Lone Gunmen may have lasted just one season, but it left a cultural footprint far larger than its episode count. From its freakishly prescient pilot to its fan-favourite characters, it became a cult classic that still sparks debates today. In an age of surveillance, AI and drone warfare, the show's storylines seem more relevant than ever, a testament to the show's forward-thinking writers. Now, if you've never watched The Lone Gunmen, well, give it a shot. You might be surprised how much it got right and how, with a back-to-basics cast and a slightly more edgier script, The Lone Gunmen could ride again.
You got a story to write.
Thanks for watching the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click the notification bell, and let me know in the comments what you thought of The Lone Gunmen. Which was your favourite episode? Okay, my name is Steve Hart. Let me know what show you'd like me to review next time. Cheers for now. See you soon. Bye bye.